All right, so I have a very, very special episode today. We have a couple guests. So this is a three-person podcast interview. First time for my podcast here. We have Brent. Brent, how you doing? Brent is a newbie. Brent is trying to close his first wholesale deal. I've been working with Brent a little bit, trying to get him a deal. And then we also have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Gregory Helbeck, who I've had on my podcast a while ago. But basically, I wanted to bring Greg on to help Brent get a deal. So we're basically going to analyze where Brent's at, what Brent is doing, and we're going to give him the best advice we can, and hopefully come out of this with a good game plan for Brent to get his first deal. So welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining me on this conversation today.
Thanks, Tim. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to helping him out and giving him a game plan that he can act on. And obviously we're recording this so people listening can take this as well and implement it so they can have success. I know this is obviously geared more towards newbies. So if you're a newbie, this is the place to be at right now. So Brent, what I want to do here on this call is I want to take the time to basically ask you some questions and see where you're at. And then based on how you answer those questions, I'm going to give you a game plan based on where you're at, right? Because a lot of people, they think it's like a one size fits all. And that's not the reality, because people have different time budgets. People have different money budgets. People have different skill sets, strengths, weaknesses. So I want to make sure I really understand exactly where you're at so I can give you a plan that will have you have the highest chance of succeeding. Sound fair?
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great.
Cool. All right. So now let's just start with the first question. You are currently a Carrot team member, so you are not doing real estate investing full-time, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. How many hours on a weekly basis, and I'm talking like deep working hours, do you have available to do real estate activities?
Man, at this
point, it's got to be a
point,
real number. It's got to be like, I guarantee you I got this much time. Not, I might have this much time. Like, how much time can you 100% commit on a weekly basis?
I'm going to say 100% commit. I'm going to say a few hours.
What do we mean by a few hours?
I'm going to have to think how much I can 100% commit. I would say somewhere around 5
hours a week.
Yeah.
All right. So that's really, we're going to
deep work
down to about an hour a day per weekday. Let's just kind of net it out.
He's got a full-time job. He's got got family and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
Yep.
So we got 5 hours a week to play with. So we want to basically, the first thing we want to do is we need to acknowledge that, and we need to make sure that every hour we're spending, because they're very valuable for you because you don't have a lot of hours, is spent doing something that moves the needle. So that's the first question I wanted to make sure we got out of the way. So we have 5 hours a week to work with for now. Obviously that can change. Now, the second question, and this might be a little vulnerable. What is a realistic monthly marketing budget you can invest for a minimum of 6 to 8 months into seller marketing?
Yeah, that's part of what I've been talking with Tim about. It's pretty low at this point. It's as far as for a while I was doing probably for a year and a half, I was probably doing 500 to 700 a month, but my budget ran out this past year. So as of now, probably $200
$200 a month. Okay. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing the time commitment. So what we need to do now is we need to take into account where you're at and how we can get you to your first deal. Because a lot of people, they get started, they want to build this big business and get rich and have Rolls Royces and fly private and go to Singapore and all that stuff. But you got to get your first deal in order to do that, right?
Yep.
That's all that matters. The only thing I want you to be focused on is your first property, right? That's the only thing that matters. That's the objective. That's every time you're spending money and time in your business, it is to get your first deal. That's the main thing. And you got to keep the main thing, the main thing. So given where you're at, we have a marketing budget that we can commit to, and we have a time budget that we can commit to, right? And the more money someone has, generally the less time they have, the more time they have, the less money they have, et cetera. So in your case, it's a little bit of a hybrid here. So before we get into like actionable plan, actionable tactics, where do you live? Where is your market? I know the answer, but for the people who didn't know.
Yeah. I'm in Roseburg, Oregon. It's a small town, maybe 25 to 30,000 people.
Okay. So you're in the Pacific Northwest. How many people, what county is Roseburg, Oregon in?
Douglas County. So it's kind
Douglas County, Maryland. Okay.
23,000
Oregon.
people live there. That's 23,000
That's at the population of the city or the county?
of the
City.
city. If we look at, okay, let me Google the Douglas
Population.
County population. Is 585. No, sorry, that's Colorado. Let's see. It is 111,000.
All right, that's fine.
makes
That's
sense.
that's doable. We can do that. Now, besides Roseburg, what other cities, towns are in that county?
The other like bigger ones would be Sutherland. You got Sutherland, Myrtle Creek. You've got Cottage Grove, and then on the coast you've got Reedsport. So Winston.
So you have it's not like it's just all forests. Like there's like towns in this county, like Roseburg and all these other.
Correct. But a lot of these cities that I'm telling you about, at least in this county, are maybe like 10,000 population.
Okay.
So they're
Okay.
small.
Yeah, but there's enough people there, and there's enough demand there. I'm sure there's buyers. So, all right. So here's where you have an advantage, and here's where you have a disadvantage. You have a disadvantage to your marketing budget for sure, and I'm just going to be straight up with you about that. But it's doable.
Yep.
You have a disadvantage to your time budget. I'd love to see 10 hours a week, but if you can't do 10 hours, that's fine. I'd rather have you be real with me and tell me you can do 5, and we build on that. So those are the disadvantages. But like I said, there's a way to do deals anywhere. So that's kind of working against you. What's working for you is where you live, believe it or not. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's a small town. No one wants to do business here. In your area, I can guarantee there's wholesale deals going down for sure. There's flip deals, there's wholesale deals. You own rental properties. So obviously you have rentals. There's commercial deals. There's real estate deals going down there. I would bet a lot of money that your county is not very competitive, which is good, which means it's easier to get deals, right? It's going to be less time and less money, right?
Well, let's see. Brent, do you know any other investors in your market?
I know a couple that live here, and then like on investor groups on Facebook, I see guys from out of town that buy here, but locally, I just know a couple.
That's good. That's very good because there's less competition, which is going to give you, that's an advantage you have. So your area, believe it or not, is actually working for you. So let's get granular on what can you do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, et cetera. Because really we're looking at 20 hours a month. But if we compound that and we're really, really, really purposeful with our time, that's 60 hours a quarter. 60 hours is a lot of time, bro. Imagine sitting in a room for 60 hours watching paint dry. That would be very boring, right? So you got to understand the daily, if you can do the right activity every day and you can really use that, what is that? Parkinson's law, right? Like you're going to have to make the time allotted work, like whatever that law is. Like basically if you got a college project and it's due on Thursday, you're not going to do it till Wednesday night, right? But if
the time fits what you have the budget for, or whatever. Yeah, it makes it. And I think it would be good for context for Greg as well. Maybe Brent to go over some of the stuff you've already tried. You said that you spent money already doing some wholesaling and it didn't work out. So maybe we can just go through what have you spent money on? What have you tried? Kind of where did you end up?
So from April of, April 20, was it April 21? For about a year and a half, something like that. I'm mixing up time now. I've been trying to get deals. I did cold calling. I paid a cold calling company. At the time, my wife was a real estate agent, so we had more expendable money to work with. Yeah. So paid a cold calling company, was getting leads, but wasn't able to turn any of them into deals. Most of them were really low quality. And then after that, I started doing pay-per-click. And again, I probably ran pay-per-click for about a year. Started just here in Roseburg. And then I think maybe from talking to Tim, I also expanded eventually into Eugene, which is just out of Douglas County. And there's quite a bit more people there. And it's maybe an hour and 15 minutes away. And like I said, I was probably spending, I can look at exact, but about $400 to $500 a month on pay-per-click. And as far as deals, haven't done any deals. Honestly, as far as we're talking about time, I'll say, first of all, my budget ran out eventually, and my wife is no longer doing what she was doing it for a job. So that's expendable money ran out, plus the fact that it wasn't making us any money. It's tough to sell my wife on on spending more money on it. And honestly, that's where, as I'm talking about time too, that's why I gave the low figure 5 hours, because it's easier to justify me spending 10 hours if it's something that's making me money. But the fact that my wife and I have both seen over the course of a year and a half, haven't made any money, and it's only been a money pit. So anyway, that's kind of my background thinking on that. Is there anything I should be diving into more there?
Yes, I have a lot of questions about that.
Please.
Now, the first thing I would tell you is I wouldn't touch Google Ads with a 10-foot pole. It's number one, you don't have a budget for it right now. You'll get there eventually.
Breaks my
Number
heart.
two, what?
It breaks my heart. I don't disagree with you considering the situation.
So Google Ads,
Yeah.
that's a terrible idea. And on top of the budget not being high enough, the search volume is not high over there. I mean, there's obviously people there, but it's not like you're in Houston where there's 5 million people in Harris County, which is
That's what we found. Yep.
Cost per click. I mean, if your budget is $400, $500 a month, that's like what, even if you're paying $15 a click, I mean, the 10% of the clicks will convert. So I would not touch Google Ads with a 10-foot pole in your market for sure. If you had like $3,000 a month to spend, maybe that's a different conversation, but so scrap Google Ads, SEO, throw that in the gutter. SEO is obviously great, but it's not something to get a deal right away. It's going to take time. So let's get into another question I have for you, because you mentioned you spent money on marketing, you got leads, etc. And obviously I'm not assuming you have this right now, but if you had to do your best job guessing, if someone had a gun to your head right now and said, up until now, I've made X amount of offers, how many offers would you say you have made? If you had to guess, obviously I'm going to tell you to track your offers. We'll get into that later on in this call, but how many offers would you have to say, like verbal offers? Hey, seller, I would pay you X for your property. How many of those do you think you made if you had to guess?
3.
That's the main problem here. So we've isolated the issue at this point. You've not made enough offers, and I'm sure it's because of the lead flow, which we'll get into. So I'm basically trying to diagnose, get to the root, which the root here is the lack of offers. And now I want to try to build a plan based on you getting into the habit of making offers. Because the reality is this: if you made one offer a day, this is just, if you do what I say right now, you will make money in like 90 to 120 days. If you made one new off-market offer a day, which takes 10 to 15 minutes, okay? If you that's 5 a week, excluding the weekends, that's 5 a week, that's 20 a month. I guarantee you, and these are off-market sellers. This is not listed properties or any of that bullshit. This is off-market properties. If you made one offer a day and you had 20 for the month, within 2 months, you'd have at least 1 or 2 contracts that you could wholesale. So this business is a function of making offers, right? The guy's doing $1 million a month, or the guy's doing $1 million a year like me. The only thing that we really do well is we focus on making offers, and we keep the main thing the main thing. That's the only thing that drives success in this business. All the systems, marketing, all that crap is designed to make an offer. I heard a quote from a friend of mine who's done 4,000 deals, and he said, I never bought a house I didn't make an offer on, right? Think about it. I never bought a house I didn't make an offer on. Listen, today already, we probably have 4 or 5 offers we put out just today, our company. So that is the key brick that builds the business. So if anyone listening to this just wants to take this and run with it, get really good at making offers, and your success will eventually find you. So that's the first thing you got to focus on. Now let's talk about a plan, given your time and money budget, to get you the leads to make an offer, right? That's the first thing we got to cover. So Google Ads, no way. Search engine, no way. Facebook, no way. That would be a complete doozy. Just because those leads aren't great, and the search, it's just the search volume in your market is not that there. So we're going to have to get really good at driving for dollars, but I probably would tell you not to do. I don't think that's really going to make sense given your time budget, because it's not going to really produce it. Go ahead.
I should say we also did that. We had Deal Machine, and we were doing driving for dollars, and then sending postcards to all of those people. So did that on a small scale. Your
time budget is not. You have to do that in high volume and high, it's not, the reason I asked you that time budget is because it'll take you an hour to get 5 or 10 properties. So it's that's not worth your time at this point, because you don't have the time allotted for it. So This is what I would tell you to do. Okay. You said $200 a month is your marketing budget, right?
Yep.
All right. So we're going to have to subscribe to some software, right? That's the one thing I would tell you to. So there's 2 softwares I want you to subscribe to. The first one is called PropStream. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yep.
$100 a month. So there's half your budget. And the second one is called, actually, I'm just trying to really think
Free
about it.
trial. We can free trial that prop stream.
We can free trial the price. So you can ride it for free for 7 days, and get some data. I would get the prop stream right now, because I was going to tell you to sign up for Invelo, but Invelo and prop stream are similar. And given your budget, for you to spend another $100 a month on Invelo when it does a lot of the same stuff as prop stream is probably not a good use of your time. So that's the first thing. So let's talk about prop stream for a minute here. So that software, I'm actually going to, if you don't mind, Tim, I'm actually going to go on to prop stream right now and see what this guy's got cooking in his county. So should I share my screen, or do you want me to
you can share your screen? Yeah, just for the people that aren't watching this on YouTube, just maybe explain what we're looking at here.
All right, so people can see my screen here. So I'm going to go look into his market right now, or his county, and I'm going to just kind of see how many properties are available. And I'm also going to look and see what type of lists can I build for $100 a month. Because the thing with PropStream I like is you get 10,000 downloads a month, and in your county there's not a lot of people, so that's pretty much going to be all your county data. So what do you say? It's Douglas County?
Yeah.
I can't spell for crap.
Yeah, just
how do you spell that?
Doug LAS. Yeah, Oregon.
Douglas County, Oregon. All right.
Yep.
So this is Doug. Okay, so you're in like Southern Oregon. Okay, so right here, and I'm gonna just actually I have to take the bar out. So if we're looking at my screen right now, your county has 81,007 properties that are real property records, right? So this is obviously just like the gross number. So, if you go into like San Diego or, Westchester County or, New York, like obviously the count's a lot higher, but you're in a small town. So this is not surprising. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking and I'm kind of seeing how many properties you have to work with, right? Now, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start
single family houses.
No, I'm going to filter that out right now. So this is just the gross parcels in your county. So like there's 81,007 gross parcels, right? So I'm going to start to filter this out to eliminate some of the junk. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to property characteristics, and I'm going to go to residential and check that. So look at that. The count was like 80,000. Now I just checked residential and it went down to almost 50,000. And now I'm going to start whacking this list and cleaning it up. Instead of having all the residential properties in Douglas County, I'm going to just look for single family homes. So we went from 80 to 40. We got 39,666. That's kind of spooky. But anyway, so there's 40,000 single family properties in your market. Okay. These are just gross properties. They could have bought it yesterday. They could have bought it in 1890. So that's all I know at this point. So what we're going to start to do now is I'm going to start to see how we can make this list more niche for you to call, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the quick list choices here on PropStream. So as you can see, and another thing I want to do is I want to eliminate all of the properties that are listed. So if you go down here to MLS status and hit on market no, it'll eliminate any property that's active, which is a waste of your time.
Okay, so just so I understand what we're doing here, we're on PropStream, we're pulling property lists. Is the goal pulling addresses, skip tracing, cold calling? Is that where we're going here, or am I jumping ahead too much?
That's where we're going here, but we're going to go laser targeted cold calling. We're not going to be doing spray and pray marketing. This is going to be niche cold calling. So that's why I wanted to kind of take this data set and take it from 80,000 down to like a couple hundred. And there's a whole scheme behind this. So now we're on the single family properties that are not on the market. Now I want to look and see what type of niche lists are available, because PropStream has this filter for the nation, but some counties don't have good data, right? So I don't know your county from Adam, but I'm just going to basically do my best to see what is available. So I'm pretty sure Oregon actually has pretty good property data from what I know a little bit of that place. So let's go and filter tax delinquency. So right now I'm going to click tax delinquent search. So now this is getting juicy now, right? So according to PropStream, there's 4,251 tax delinquent single family homes. All right. So now the list is getting a little bit more niche. Okay. And now this is where it gets interesting. So right now, I mean, I would not expect you to call 4,000 people because, if we're looking at the 80-20 principle, 20% of the prospects get you 80% of the results. So I'm going to make this list even more niche now. I'm going to go now. So we have, just to kind of recap, we have single family residential properties that are not on the market that apparently owe back taxes. And I'm saying apparently because we don't really know for sure because PropStream is a data aggregator. So if you go look up here and you see occupancy status, there's any, vacant, or occupied. So occupied means someone's living there. Vacant means it's vacant, and any means they're both on the data set. So I'm actually just going to click vacant. So here we're down to 48 properties. So the first thing I'd have you do here is so these 48 properties now are apparently they're vacant. It's not 100% accurate because it's just, once again, it's a data aggregator. Apparently they're tax delinquent, which once again, probably accurate, but also probably inaccurate depending on, how good the county record pulls to PropStream. But I would call the first thing I do is I'd call these people, because if they are vacant and they owe property taxes, you're going to have a lot more productive cold call because you're calling into a problem. You're not calling into a random person. Hey, Stacy, you're looking to sell your house for cash. Why would I sell my house for cash? You called me. But when you find a property that's vacant and they owe taxes and you cold call them, they have a little bit more motivation. And I actually did this. This is how I got started in the business. Really got traction as I was calling these very targeted leads and having pretty productive conversations with them. So let me just take a look at a random property here. So out of these 48, I'm just going to pick this random one here in Roseburg. So 1973 Castle Avenue. All right. I'm just going to randomly take a look at this here. So I'm going to copy the address and I'm going to paste it in here. And we're going to take a look at this property. So according to PropStream, once again,
we're looking at Google Maps here.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a look at this address. So according to PropStream, this is a vacant tax delinquent property, right? According to PropStream. So this street view right here is from June 2021. So it's relatively new. It's not like it's from 2012. Property looks like it's, in decent shape. Roof looks pretty good, etc. Looks like there might be a board in the window there. Maybe it's just a garage and they got like plywood up against it. But nonetheless, this isn't like completely recent. But bottom line is that and it's in a trust. So you're going to see this too in Oregon and California. Like there's a lot of properties that are in a trust, which it is what it is. But I would start calling. The bottom line is I would start calling these prospects. So this is 48. These are 48 prospects. I would call all of these people and text them and see if any of these people would consider selling their property. Because according to PropStream, this is a pretty targeted list. So that's step one, right?
What would you say? What's like when you text them, when you call them, like how do you start that conversation?
That's a great question. I'd say, hey, my name is Brent. I'm a local real estate investor, and I just wanted to see if you'd consider an offer for your property over on, Massachusetts Avenue. Like literally just straight up. Hey, my name's Brent. I'm a local real estate guy. I wanted to call to see if you'd consider selling your property on Jones Avenue. Listen, if they would consider an offer, they're going to say, yeah, I'd consider that. Hence, we're calling into the problem, right? We're not just calling random people. And then from there, okay, cool. Tell me a little bit about the property. And then you begin that process of having a conversation with them. So that's what I would say to them if you're making a cold call, because cold calling isn't sales. Cold calling is marketing. You're literally just trying to get someone to raise their hand and then take them through the process, make them an offer, et cetera. So that's the first thing I showed you. So right here, we're looking at tax delinquent vacant properties. All right. Now, what if we just turned around and we wanted to eliminate the tax delinquency filter and we just want to see how many vacant properties are in your market, right? So in your market now, there's 295 vacant properties, and out of those 295, 40 of them are vacant / tax delinquent properties, right? So once you call through that list of 48, I would then go just back to your original, list here, and I would just check vacant. And now you're calling single family vacant residential properties in your county. So you have 200, that's 300 people. That's doable. You could spend, an hour a day making 25, 30 calls and, at least get some data back. So this is just kind of like as they would say, like the low hanging fruit. And like I said in the beginning, Brent, the advantage you're going to have in your market is there's not a lot of people calling these prospects because your market's not competitive, right? If that list was in Houston, they get 3 to 4 to 5 calls a day. I guarantee you these people are not getting any more than 2 calls a week, probably less. So you're going to be really in a situation where the response should be higher for you based on your market. So let's take a look, and I'll share my screen again. Let's take a look at some other lists that we might be able to call here. So we kind of looked into the vacant properties now. I'm going to actually go back and I'm going to uncheck that filter. And I'm going to go for the absentee owners now who've owned their property for a while. So the way we would do that is we go to ownership info and we go to owner type. Oh, geez, why is this not loading? Sorry about this. Oh, here we go. Owner type, individual. All right. So we just want to do individuals. We don't want to do, corporations. And then owner occupied. We want to click no. Right. This list is still, it's a huge list. So 14,000. This is not, we need to clean this thing up. It's got to be smaller than that.
That's a lot of landlords in just a little Douglas County.
I know. Well, probably a lot of secondaries too, but definitely some landlords. So another thing I would do is I would go in here and I would go look for years of ownership and put a minimum of 15 years. So this is a decent list. So you have
1,000.
You have 1,000 landlords who've owned their property there for more than 15 years. So assuming that it has equity and it needs work, right? That's kind of what we're looking for here. So this is 1,100 people. I mean, this obviously is not the smallest list, but it's not the biggest list. I guarantee you there's some pretty good leads on this list for sure, as long as you're calling consistently. So the first thing I wanted to cover with you was like the data part, how to pull data, how to filter data. That's part A, right? So that's going to cost you $100 a month to do that, right? And then obviously your time. The second thing you can do if you want to get even more like niche and hyper focused on distressed properties is you go to the, and I don't know your county, but you could figure this out, Douglas County tax collector, right? You want to basically get your hands on the tax delinquent list directly from the county, not from PropStream, because the county's got the most accurate data because they're the ones who collect the property taxes and they're the ones who would know if it's delinquent or not. So that's probably going to cost you, I don't think that list would it'd either be free or it'd cost you maybe $200, like one-time fee. Grab the tax delinquent list. I'm sure it's available in Oregon. That's a pretty easy state to get data in. And what you would do is you'd get that list. It's probably all jacked up, like in terms of like, it's all confusing to look at, but you'd want to segment your list to have the first name of the owner, last name of the owner, mailing address, mailing city, mailing state, mailing zip, property address, property city, property state, property zip. And then the most important one here, amount of delinquent taxes, right? That's where the money is. Because then what you do is once you have, and this is going to require work, as you can do. I'm giving you a lot of information. This is going to require work. This is going to require an hour of your time every day, strategically working through this. When you have that spreadsheet organized like that, you can filter the spreadsheet from highest to lowest in terms of amount of tax owed. And you can also do like single family house, because I bet you there's a lot of like junk land on there that no one wants. But you can then filter that list to high tax delinquent properties versus low tax delinquent properties, okay? And then on top of that, this is where you'd have to get another software, but it's worth it. You can get a software called Invelo. There's another one called Batch Leads. There's another one called it's called REI Sift, SIFT. And you would take that tax delinquent list once it's clean, and you'd upload it into one of those softwares. And then once the data is in that software, you can flag all the vacant properties that are already tax delinquent because you know it, because that's the list you bought. And then you can literally go in and you can say, oh, wow, this property over here on Smith Street in Roseburg is vacant and it's tax delinquent. And you know it's probably a better quality prospect because you directly got that data from the county versus PropStream kind of like guessing to see if it's tax delinquent. Because once again, PropStream is a data aggregator. So the main thing I'm trying to tell you is this: the more targeted you could get with the calls you make via what I just told you, when you get in touch with somebody, if you're calling into a prospect that has $10,000 of back taxes and their property's vacant, they're going to be much more motivated to sell their house if they're selling versus you just calling random Stacy Smith over in Roseburg and, well, I'm not selling my house, F off, right? Like, so you want to be more targeted with who you're pursuing based on your budget and based on your time. I just kind of rambled there for like solid 15 minutes. So I want you to process this and give me some feedback.
Yeah. I think, so the reason I went with like pay-per-click to begin with is because, again, I wanted working at Carrot, what I hear over and over, those are the best quality leads. And like you mentioned, because I'm in a small market, those good quality leads, there's not that many of them, not that many people searching. So that was the problem I ran into. So what you're saying feels like it's accomplishing the same thing on the outbound side versus on the inbound. And that's ultimately what I was trying to solve for, was just, I don't have unlimited time to call people. So I really like this idea. It makes a lot of sense. I wanted to get clarity in in that last part you were saying of with like Envelo, REI Sift, batch leads, all those. So you mentioned going to the courthouse, getting those actual delinquent numbers. You mentioned vacant list. You mentioned combining the two. Now, are those two different lists that I'm combining, or is that all from the county records?
So PropStream is like low hanging fruit. You can filter little things on PropStream, but it's not 100% accurate, because you don't, I don't know where PropStream's getting their tax delinquent list from, because it's a data aggregator. If you bought the list from the county, those are tax delinquent, because that's literally the direct data from the source. So you're going to have better tax delinquent leads if you bought the list from the county. And then if you took that list that you bought and cleaned it up like I told you, and stuck it in one of those softwares I mentioned, you can then flag the vacant properties from the list you already have that you got from the county. PropStream, I don't know how to use their list stacking thing. I don't want to give you advice on something I don't do myself. I know that I think Envelo is probably the best one. They have a really easy to use software, but you're able to basically filter vacant properties on it. I think Envelo might actually be free in the beginning. Let me check it out. I think it's free actually. I think it's free. This would be a home run if it's free. I think it is. Envelo.
Free trials for the win, baby.
No, not a free trial. I think it's free until you have a certain amount of data in your account. I think that is the case. I actually, the owner's a good friend of mine actually. So let me,
So either way you can hook us up.
Yeah, Envelo, it's app.com. I think this is the case, because I remember when pricing. Check this out. Starter. Yeah. Holy smokes. Yeah, this is free. So you get this one for free, up to 5,000 records. So depending on how big your list is, you get, it's free. That's really cool. So definitely go to Envelo.
Cool. Yeah, okay. With that, then the other question I have there is, so when you're doing this, are you also pulling what's it called, like the no call list? Are you
Dude, I wouldn't worry about that crap, dude.
No.
Okay. Dude, you're not calling enough people to really, I mean, listen, I'm not giving you legal advice here, but like
right.
That's the last thing I'd be concerned about, is the damn do not call list.
Okay.
For cool. bulk people who are doing triple dials.
Yeah. And like, dude, you're buying property. You're not selling anything. Legally, you're not, once again, not an attorney in Oregon or New York, or anywhere for that matter. But I wouldn't be concerned about that. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
Cool.
But that's what I would do, man. But here's like where I just gave you a bunch of information now. So here's how you want to like be strategic with your time. In the beginning, you're going to want to get, another tool you're going to probably need to sign up for is Skip Genie. It's like $50 a month. But you want to have good data to skip trace, because if you have like shitty skip tracing data, you're just going to be calling into no man's land. So I think Skip Genie is like $50 a month or whatever.
They're the good skip tracing company that you recommend to skip trace these lists that he's pulling from the courthouse.
Yeah, because you can manually search people in Skip Genie. You don't have to put in a bulk order. So you can literally go into Skip Genie and type in like if you went to my property, if you typed in my address, Gregory Helbeck shows up with my telephone number. So it's like super accurate.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a big deal too. You got to make sure you have that. But you're going to want to spend like the first week, I would do is like, let's call it 5 hours. The activities I would do is I would sign up I would pick one of these two straight. I wouldn't do both of these at once, because it's just going to be overwhelming. I would probably lean more towards the county, getting the tax list from the county, because that's going to be better data. I would schedule time to call the county tax collector. Let me just look it up. What the hell am I talking about here? Douglas County, Oregon.
Have you tried to do this, Brent? Have you gone to the courthouse or anything like that?
No, I have not. I mean, I've looked at like the tax assessor page, but I haven't gone into the courthouse for this. No.
Yeah, dude, this is good. This is golden up here, bro. Oregon's got sick data. You can literally freaking, I think you can literally look up if they're delinquent. It's freaking crazy. Hold up. Let me
He's checking the interwebs.
yeah, dude, this is gangster. Hold up. Roseburg. I'm gonna go on Zillow. Give me a second. Rose Berg, Oregon. Dude, I don't know how to spell.
Roseburg, and then Oregon, Oregon.
Here we go. Okay. Let me just check this thing real quick. 115 West Tanger. Hold up. Yeah, dude, this is freaking sick. Bro, you can literally go in your county and see if they owe taxes. This is sick. Dude, bro. This is ridiculous, bro. Here, let me share my screen.
Please.
Dude, your county is like easy as hell, bro. New York, it's like trying to get blood from a stone. So
Right, so
that's
we're
a
on the
random
government
property
website
listed.
here.
This is a listed property. I just use this because I don't know, what the deal is. But I just looked up this address in your county. Jesus, why is this bar in my face? Sorry.
It's like, yeah, there you go.
So like, dude, this property owes no taxes. It makes sense. It's listed. It's a nice property, but you could basically see that they owe no taxes. You know what? On that note, check this out. I'm going to get super gangster on you guys. So let's actually go back and go to tax delinquent and see if this data in PropStream is actually tax delinquent. All right. 172 Asher Street in, what is it? This freaking Winchester, Oregon. I don't know what the hell that is.
Wait, what are you looking at? Asher Street?
Yeah, so I went back to PropStream and I filtered a tax delinquent list. So I put a tax delinquent filter on. I want to see if this is actually delinquent via the county.
Oh, got it.
How accurate it is. All right.
This is what we call scrubbing a list.
Yes.
Very manually.
Yeah. So look, this is why you want to go to the county, dude, because PropStream says this is tax delinquent, and I just went on your county and there's no taxes owed. Let me sample size of 3. Maybe it's a unicorn, but either way, that's strike 1 for PropStream. Let's see here. North Klamath Avenue. All right, let's go here.
So are you saying he can pull all these records online because that's what you're doing now, or no, that he still has to go to the courthouse and get them directly?
I would get the tax delinquent list from the courthouse because I'm using the PropStream tax delinquent list now, and none of these are coming. Oh, here we go. Wow, look at this. Jesus Murphy. So this property here owes almost 10K in back taxes. Okay.
Yep.
That's a good lead, by the way. So right now, I mean, like I said, I don't know this area, but this property, it says it's worth like 250. I'd probably say that's fairly accurate. The owner owes a bunch of taxes because I filtered out the tax delinquent list, and I would call this person. Right, this is a lead I would call. Because if you call, they haven't paid their taxes, right? And 10 grand in taxes is probably at least 2 years in your state. I don't know the area, but it's got to be, at least 2 years. So
you plug them in a skip genie. This address.
Yeah, so that I would skip trade. Yeah, exactly. I'd put the address in and then the name, etc. But basically, what the point I'm trying to make this like relevant to the audience is, if you go direct to the county and buy that tax delinquent list, all of those leads will be tax delinquent because you got it from the source. And then if you took that and stuck it into Envelo and you flagged all the vacant properties, now when you're calling people, you're calling tax delinquent vacant properties. So you're having a more targeted call. So that's the first thing I would do. So let's walk you back into the game plan because I want to make this like bite sizable for people. The first week, I would get your system set up. So I'd spend one day, like on Monday, I would call the Douglas County tax collector and say, how do I get my hands on the list of all delinquent properties in the county? They're probably going to say, oh, it's not available. Well, we don't have that. They might say that, but just keep calling, keep persisting. They definitely have that. If they won't give you the list, then you got to go to PropStream. But I would try to be a persistent badger to get that list. That's step number 1. That's Monday. Tuesday, I'd sign up for Envelo for free. Wednesday, hopefully you have the list by that point. Maybe it costs a couple $100 and you get your list cleaned up. So you take the list they give you. It's probably all screwed up in terms of the data is going to look all funky. Remember, you want to make it first name, last name, mailing address, mailing city, mailing state, mailing zip, property address, property city, property state, property zip, amount of taxes owed. And then you could filter like single family or whatever. So I'd get your list cleaned up Wednesday. And I'm just giving you like high level theory here. Obviously, it's when you actually go take action, there's going to be some roadblocks. But Wednesday, I'd clean the list up. And then Thursday, I would sign up for Skip Genie. Takes you 10 minutes. And then Friday, I would make sure that your system is all set up to begin on Monday. And then the next week, I would basically go and I'd say, all right, I'm going to spend an hour today taking the, So actually, you know what? Friday, I wouldn't do that. Friday, I would take the tax delinquent list if you have it. I'd stick it into Envelo and I would flag the vacant properties. And then Monday, I would begin the process of the outreach to call the people.
Okay.
That's a marketing plan that's doable with a budget and that's a doable plan right there.
Are there other pieces that not related to marketing you want to go over, or is that the main? I don't know how
The
much time
main
you
thing
have.
is marketing. The main
Yeah.
thing is marketing, but the reality is that if you're brand new and you're going to get a lot of resistance from people because that's just human nature. So you want to be really, I wouldn't try to have a crazy sales process like me, because I've been doing this for a while. I would have a conversation with the owner. If they want to consider selling their property, if they would consider an offer, and obviously we're trying to call people who have a higher chance of selling, get a little bit of it. Hey, can you tell me a little bit about the property? They're probably going to say, well, you called me. Like, you're going to get a lot of resistance. You're going to have to understand that you're going to deal with a lot of resistance. But if you get a deal and you make 30 grand, it's going to be worth it, right? And then you could take that money.
That's the business.
Right? Nothing good is easy. Just remember that.
Right.
But the way I would talk to the owners is call them, see if they want to sell. If they want to sell, have them tell you a little bit of information about the property. Try your best to see what price they want to sell for. Hey, if I paid cash and closed this thing whenever you wanted, what would be the best price you could do? Like, just try to get a number out of them. Maybe that's, easier said than done. And then at that point, I would just start getting in the habit of making them offers. And then, whatever the price is, who gives a shit, make them an offer. So go on Redfin's. So that's the conversation. Basically, step one, call them. Step two, if they're interested, get a little bit of information on the property, try to get their asking price. And then step three is tell them you're going to call them back and make them an offer. Or if you're local, you can go on the appointment, etc. That's kind of a game time decision. Here's how I want you. The last thing I want to cover here on this call is analyzing properties to make an offer, because you're new, right? That's not easy to do, but you don't need to overthink it. Literally, I would do this. Go on Zillow, go on Redfin, go on Realtor.com. All right. And I would go and get the Zillow estimate. I'd get the Realtor.com estimate. I'd get the Redfin.com estimate. So the three estimates. So Zillow is going to say one number. The other one's going to be the number. You're going to get three numbers that are probably similar. Okay. Take those three numbers. All right. Add them up and divide them by 3 to get like the total value estimate of the property. Right. And this is all just kind of off the cuff. All right. I want you to take that number, whatever that number is. This is easy to do. This takes like 2 seconds. And the offer I want you to make these people, this is assuming like it's not a knockdown. If it's a knockdown, this is a different story. 40% of the Redfin number. And this is 40% of that number. If you can make offers at 40 cents, listen, people are not like, you're going to go into like, people are probably going to reject most of those offers, but don't like get like, oh, I got to comp this property. I got to do this. I got to do all this like lot. I got to look at the lot size. Like, dude, you want your first deal and you want to get your first deal as fast as possible. Take the combination of those 3 property sites and literally just come up with the rough average and take 40% of that and make them the offer. That's literally how I would start. And then just get in the habit of making offers.
Is that is that to my understanding, just so you can make as many offers as possible and you're not
just get your foot out. Yeah. Just start.
Right.
Don't over, because the truth is the more offers you make, the more success you have. And you don't want to like let analyzing the property be your reason why you can't make an offer. If you make a wrong offer and you screw up, oh shit, I screwed up. Sorry about that. But if you're making offers at 40 cents on the dollar, like if they take it, that's probably going to be a deal. So that's really what I would do, man. That's the game plan I would start with, right? And we could talk for hours about this and that, but the reality is all those other things are irrelevant unless you have leads coming in and you have offers going out. So I wanted to make this really based around making the offers and getting the leads and doing it in a cost-effective manner based on your budget.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I mean, that you say it, and it makes a lot of sense. It's one of those like you listen to it and go, "Why didn't I think of that?" But that it makes a lot of sense. That makes it really actionable, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not going to be easy. You're going to get rejected pretty much every time. But if you can do these activities for 4 to 6 months, and one more thing, this is worth the price of admission, everyone, even though it's free. You need to make a Google sheet. Don't get a CRM, waste of time at this point. You need a Google sheet for free. There's going to be 2 tabs in that Google sheet. Tab number 1 is leads. All the people who said they want to sell. You put it name, phone number, whatever, address. And the second tab is offers. Every time you make an offer, you have to track that offer in the spreadsheet. Because if you start doing this and you're like, oh my God, this isn't working, blah, 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 you can go back and say, well, I've made 2 offers over the last month. This is why it's not working. But if you made 25 offers in the month of March or April, you're probably going to get a deal, first of all. But second thing, you're going to have all the data that's tracked. Because let's say you implement this plan, which I hope you do, and you make 35 offers and you say, hey, Greg, I made 35 offers. I haven't gotten a deal. Okay, let's take a look at that. How low are we making these offers? I can give you advice based on data that you give me. But if you just say, Greg, this doesn't work, and I don't know how many offers you made, I don't know what to tell you. That makes sense?
Yep, absolutely.
But the lower the offer, the better. Like if you're making like an offer and you almost want to like throw up inside, that's probably the right number. The reality, like real talk. Okay. Like they're asking 250, you're like, hey, would you consider 100 or probably not? But that's how you make money, right? Like it's not, you got to get real. If you ask my team, they're like, I'm like a savage pit bull. Like I'm numb to I don't get emotional over the offer process. Like I literally locked up a mobile home today in Delaware. She was asking like 25 grand. I said, would you consider for 9,000 or probably not? She's like, yeah, I would do that. And she signed it up for 9 grand, right? She's asking 25, got it for 9. That's like half of what it's worth. You know what I mean? You got to become numb to making offers. It's a business. Like you're here to solve problems.
Is that how you're saying it? Like,
yeah.
Would you take 9 or not? I mean,
yeah, it's a mobile home. I'm like, we don't want to buy it. I'm like, would you take 9 or probably not? Like listen, there's other ways to sell. And when we have like bigger deals, like it's a little bit more of a coddling, nurturing thing, but like, my nature is very like direct with people. I'm kind of like come off as an asshole sometimes because I'm so like you get so numb in this business over time because you just put up with the bullshit for a long time. So you just got to cut right through the bullshit, make the offer, be a nice guy. I'm not saying be like, this thing's a piece of shit. Oh, 10 grand. Like just, be friendly, but you got to understand you have to remove the emotion from making the offer. It's not an emotional thing. It's a logical thing for you. The seller might be emotional and it's great to empathize with them. Oh, you've owned this house in Oregon for 20 years and, you can't pay the bills. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm sure it's stressful, but when you make the offer, don't apologize. Like, hey, I'd love to buy this house, but for this to make sense for me, I'd be at 65,000. Is that something you'd consider or probably not? Like you could say it like that. That's a whole nother topic, but just basically don't let your emotions get in the way of you making offers. Because the more offers you make, the quicker you'll get a deal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a little uncomfortable though, man. Like, listen, like it's like easy for me to say this because like I've been doing this for a long time and I'm like numb to the bullshit. But in the beginning, it's like terrifying. You're like, oh my God, what if the seller takes my offer? I got to get it under contract. Oh shit, and I get it. I've been there. Like everyone's been there. But the more you can remove the emotion from it and just focus on one step at a time. Like, hey, you get a property in contract. You got a due diligence period, right? If you screwed up for some reason, you could tell, hey, I have a due diligence period, Mr. Seller. I need to make sure this thing checks out. Like, you're not like, if you get it under contract, they're not going to like force you to close. You know what I mean? Like, don't try to get deals in contract that you can't deliver on. But like, if you do a bad deal and you get a contract signed that's too high, like it's not the end of the world. Like, you know what I mean? So just don't let that get in the way of you being able to go through the process every day and make those offers.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I think we'll do maybe a follow-up in a few months after Brent puts some work in. And I'll talk to Brent too, and we'll stay in touch. And then, we'll, if we run into roadblocks, we'll bring some data to Greg and he can help us. But I think we have some pretty clear next steps moving forward. So thanks, Greg, man.
That was really tactile. I didn't think I'd go that deep in the weeds, but like, given what you're telling me, I'm like, oh, dude, this is a system for you right here. Like, just do this, bro. And like, it's, you got some good opportunities there for sure.
Honestly, I felt ridiculous when you asked me how much time, how much money. I was like, he's not going to be able to come up with anything with such a limited time money.
No, dude, because it's all about being creative and maximizing what you have. Like, if you're willing to put in a dedicated hour a day, every day of those activities I mentioned, you're going to get results, right? I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get a deal right away, but you're going to get distressed properties. You're going to call them. You're going to go through. Listen, the reality is this. and that's why I like Tim a lot and his channel. It's like, this is a hard business, and this is a business. This is not like a little, like people treat it like a side hustle. Like if you treat it like a side hustle, you get smoked. But if you commit to making this a business over time and you understand it's really difficult, think about it. If it was easy to buy a piece of property at 45 cents on the dollar, every idiot and their brother and their cat would be doing it. It's freaking hard. It's difficult, but that's why we get paid the big bucks, is because we solve big problems and we're willing to put up with the bullshit in order to make the deals happen. Like this, and I have to tell this to me every day. We have 25 houses going on right now at once, and there's bullshit on every house. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a pain in the ass. But I'm like, this is why we're in the business. This is why the business exists. If sellers didn't do silly things with their property, we wouldn't have a business, right? So I'm almost grateful that some of these sellers are such crazy people, because if they weren't, we wouldn't be in business. And that's the reality. No one wants to say that, but it's the truth. So every time you run into a roadblock, like, oh, I remember Greg telling me about this. This is the opportunity. If I can bust through this barrier, you'll get, it's like that game Mario, like you just get to the next level, and then you get to the next level and you get to the next level, but there's going to be a barrier in front of you every time you hit resistance. And that's where most people bail, right? Like they're like, oh, people don't want to answer the phone. They're difficult. It's like, no shit. Like, of course, like, no, like this is where the opportunity is. It's where the difficulty lies, is where the opportunity is. If every person who answered the phone said, yes, Brent, I'm going to give you my house for free, there'd be no value and there'd be no opportunity, right? So you just got to remember that when you're doing these activities.
Okay. Man, it was great. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure.
All right, man. We'll wrap it up here. That's a great motivation to end on. And yeah, we're not going to let Brent off the hook. We're going to follow up with him, and we're going to work him hard. So yeah, Greg, thanks again. This is the first of many conversations, and stay tuned for the next episode of Brent getting a deal there. So thanks everybody. Appreciate y'all.
Cool. Thanks, guys.